Alrighty, here I am. So I'm playing with my recording setup. What you saw me do in week one was I was on my Windows laptop, and for technical reasons, I had to return it. I'm getting a different laptop, so I converted back to everything old is new again. I converted back to my Mac computer, which is really comfortable for me. But I'm also changing my recording setup a little bit, trying to make it look a little better. You tell me if it does or not. Hey, you don't have to. You can though. I always appreciate feedback like this, right? Because we always want to get better. So this is it. This is your first official instruction for this week in our class, our first week of official instruction. By now, you've seen me quite a bit. I am again recording before the start of the semester, the beginning of July. So it's kind of fun for me to try to think about how I can make this content better. But without you here, I don't know. I'm not totally shooting in the dark because I've seen students work through my content. So I hope that I know how to cover certain things, but I also know it takes a little bit of instruction. So here's what I want to do on each weekly attendance, and I'll just tell you kind of my process because I think it helps a little bit to understand. So what I do is I prepare whatever video I need, instruction I need, written assignment, written material I need for that week. So I do get everything ready is a quick way to say that. And then I create this video so that this is like, do you know this? They do this in movies. That what they will do is they will film all the scenes of the movie, but the last scene they will go back and film the first scene. And you can think about why they might do that. I think that's pretty standard practice, but for my recording, it makes sense because then I can give you kind of like, think about this, here's what you're doing here, and it gives you that overview of what's going to happen in the week. So in this week, you get used to the first week of the semester, so it's going to be like a lot for those of you that just started on week 0 today, if today means Monday of the semester. But I suspect given that I've already seen a handful of you interacting already, that there'll be many that have already gone past this, but it doesn't, think that's the point. It doesn't really matter when you get here, right? You're here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much. So the thing I want to let you know is about my office hours and where to find them. If they have changed, I will make notes down there, but I believe these are going to be my office hours. I will talk about a little more of the course layout. I'll go over what we're doing in week 1 just to give you that. So let me now move over here to Canvas, right? Oh, I love it when it does that. Okay. So course organization will be my second topic. My first topic is the syllabus. Right click, open in a new tab. And inside this new tab, if you scroll down, you will see past all this. I am in the right class. This is what I anticipate being my office hours for the fall 2021 semester. Okay. So during these times, I will have my Zoom open. Here's my link to Zoom. Here's my number. I don't actually present the URL here because honestly, it's YouTube and I don't want everybody knowing what that is. But students, you'll have to wait in the waiting room. I'll probably have talked about this by now, but if not, here it is. On Monday, Tuesday, 1 to 1:50. On Wednesday, I do hold a little bit later office hour because I think that's important. So that's the time. And then Thursday and then Friday, 11 to 11:50. So here's the deal. These are times when I'm just officially in my office and a great way to interact with me, okay? But also if these don't work, then reach out to me through Canvas by using the inbox and, reaching out and say, hey, I'd like to meet with you. Here's the times I'm available. And we just have to negotiate based on most of our lives and work that out, okay? So I just want you to know the official times. Now, these become also the same but different as we move into the third week or the third big item we have in this class, which is our dev work. So let me talk about that for a minute. So by the end of this week, in week 1, you will have experienced 2 of the 3 major components of this class. So your first item is a code along, and I've created a video, so I don't need to go over it. What you need to do here, this video should give you everything you need and how to submit this item. You are submitting a URL. So this video, highly recommended. Trying to do it without would be kind of hard. But it does now at this point. We are working through the Udemy course from Andrew Mead. And hopefully by now you've gotten at a really good price. I talked about that in week 0. And these are the videos you're going to do. Okay, so I talk about all of that in here. So give that a look. So that's your first Monday night item. Normally every due date of the week, which is Monday and Thursday, you have these 2 items. But because it's the beginning of the semester and you have quite a few things to get done for your local setup, I go ahead and on Thursday, I put your first learn together. So now your second due date of this week, the Thursday, is part 2 of this. So I broke this section 3 into 2 parts. And so we finished this here, and I tell you now you have to finish video 19 through 15 through 19. Now, this video is from a previous semester. Matter of fact, it's from the spring semester. So this is a video that you will see probably through many code alongs, that I just give you a standard video for how to approach this work and how to submit your code along work. So this one is one, I think if you wanted a little more instruction, but it basically covers part of what's in this part 1, which is how to submit this work. And it's very important you submit it right. The first week I'm a little more understanding, but starting in week 2, if you're not submitting it the way I request, I do take points off. Okay. So the other thing you're experiencing is your first learn together. So I just got finished recording your learn together, and I'm going to give you a second video for how to output your JavaScript into the browser, which is something you're going to need in week 2. So if you want to go ahead and attempt that after finishing the requirements for week 1, check that out and feel free to do that. Otherwise, know it's going to come at you in week 2. Okay. So let me come back up here. So this is what we're doing this week. I've already talked about this part. And what I want to talk about here is really the idea of the third major thing we're doing in this class, and what I would really consider the most important. So what I'm going to do is open the calendar in a new tab. And because, again, I'm early, I have to roll forward to August. And then we see, again, if you haven't heard me say this, I highly recommend using the calendar feature for all classes. And you can take a class off if you only wanted to focus on one particular class. So you can choose all of them, which can be overwhelming maybe, depending on how many you have. But what I love about this is it allows us to take a look. And in this case, here's the thing I want you to know. We do these code along and learn togethers for first, second, and part of the third week. And then we have our first our first development work. Okay. And this is where you're actually writing code on your own. And then you're coming into a code review with me. And this, if I just pull this up, now we're not going to go over this detail. This is something we will do later as we get closer in. But this tells you, it gives you code examples. It tells there's a coding style that I'll talk about. So writing code that works is important, and really it gets you started. But the most important thing, not get you started, that's the wrong way to say that. Writing code that works and meets my requirements is absolutely what you need to do. And then what you need to do is come and do a code review with me where you walk me through your code. And what I do there is I see how well you understand what you've done. And then we have a conversation about that code. And 50% of your points comes from how well you've done in the code review. So just writing code is important, and working code, that's 50% of your points. But the other 50% comes from bringing code that functions into a code review. And then our discussion, how well you understand the code that you wrote, is actually the way you get the other half of your points. Okay. Now, the other thing about this is that, let me come back here. I can show you this. Where's the best place to show you this? It's actually on syllabus. Did I miss off of syllabus? Okay. Let me come back here. On syllabus, it shows you here. that your dev work accounts for 50% of your overall grade. So these learn togethers and code alongs are together, they're 50%, which matches, if you put them together, the weight of your development work. Because my philosophy is that you really have to learn to write code, as I bring myself back here. Okay, that's the goal. And students tell me, and even those who struggle, and I've had many students come who have never coded before, but what they told me, most of them, not every one of them, but most of them told me it was really the development work where you solidify, enhance, extend your knowledge. And when you start to feel that empowerment over understanding how to translate concepts, things that you want to create into code, is really where you start to own it, and is really, I think, where the fun is at. So just know that that is the third part of this class that you will see. I didn't plan this, but in week 3. Okay. So I want you to know. And coming back here, let's take me back. So, okay, so that's covered these concepts. I've talked about this, but getting help. Remember what I've said about help. Your Discord server is absolutely a great place to get help because you may be working times that I'm not. Remember, I am typically an early morning person. I get up early. I actually do in code this week show you my decision-making process of things I can do before I go work out. So it is definitely, I get up early, I do my process, I work, I do whatever. And then I typically shut off around 6 in the evening. So, but your schedule may mean that you're working later, right? So make sure that you're planning ahead, working ahead, so that if you do need help, you can reach out to me to get it. Okay. But also, Discord is there for that reason as well. I'll ask it. Sometimes it's easier to ask somebody else for help. For whatever reason, I'm not sure I totally understand this, but I guess I do, because sometimes as instructors, I think students have a hard time asking for help. And I hope I'm trying to eliminate that barrier and make it easy for you, and hopefully give you a feeling that I'm here to help. I'm here to help you grow in your coding skill and knowledge. And hopefully I'm creating a welcoming environment, because honestly, that's the way I feel. So I hope you get help when you need it. The sooner, the better. The last thing I want to say is all my video is closed captioned. And what that means is, I'm just going to mute this, but every video is closed captioned. And if you want to see that closed captioning, which, by the way, I totally do this because I do this for me all the time. Okay. So I have found closed captioning is not just for people who absolutely, and it's for those folks who need it, but it's also just for anybody that wants to. I will get this record. I have been playing with this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's part of universal design. And as web developers, we need to understand the importance of having our code, our web pages, especially our video, be accessible and meet those requirements. Because it's hard to say anyone, but it's true. Everyone needs to be able to access the content that we are creating. Okay. All right. So it is now time for you. I guess the last thing I would say here is that I know there's a sequence. Actually, I should show you this. I've been talking about this, and if I move to the student view, hopefully I don't have to go through all those as well. But if I come back here, you have already experienced. Oh, good. Oh, no, I haven't. You have to go through here. So what happens here is I haven't made week 1 as of this moment. Perfect. Let me just do that. I always kind of like to show you the back end of things. So what I'm going to do is I already have this set up so that you have to move through these things in sequential order. Okay. So as soon as I publish, and I get this little message that says continue, you have to do week 0 before you can do week 1. And within week 1, you have to go in sequence. Okay. This is always the case wherever my class is. But now notice before, I don't know if you noticed this, week 1 was not showing up. But you can't get there yet because you're not complete with week 0. So make sure you've done all the steps, you've submitted, gone through the content, marked them as done, and contributed to this last one. And then this week will show up. And you will see this pattern every week because I find it helpful to help students know where they're at, where they need to pick up if they've gotten behind. And yes, I do accept late work. Okay, I do. Oh, it's still not. Oh, there I am. Flies off into another screen. So I do accept late work. I just don't recommend doing it, especially in a 9-week class. So if you do submit work after the due date, remember, I grade unless something happens every morning, whatever's been submitted from the day before. And if I happen to have time during that day, I'll grade it as I see it roll in. But for sure, each morning I grade. But on the days items are due, if yours is not submitted, then I will put a 0 in your item, but you can still submit it and I will late grade it. Okay. If when I see work come in, even on things that I've placed a 0 on, you can get the max points you have instead of 100 for that item is 75. So the max you can get, which means you got to do all the work, replies on a discussion, the post, all of it to get 75 points if it's late. I think that's enough. Week 1, glad you're here. In your reply to let me know that you watched this whole thing, right? Here's my question. Do you understand? Is there anything I discussed in this video that you would want to understand better? Or is there something you would have wanted me to talk about? So in your reply, say that, and I'll know you've watched it to this point, which is, in this case, the end. Have a good one. Peace out.